Alright legends, we have a jam-packed episode. We have a GMC getting some custom suspension because he couldn't find any options to lower it, and I ended up being able to sort it out with him. We also have a couple Holden VE Utes that we're working on, and then we've got a Honda Accord, which I forget the name of and start calling it a ridiculous name for it. Also, you might see some things pop up in the video somewhere. I'm not sure where it's actually going to pop up, but it's a membership thing. You're not subscribing to YouTube, you're actually subscribing to my channel. And yeah, it goes directly to me. So I really appreciate anyone that can do it. I think it starts at $5, goes up to like $80 a month, and it goes to just helping things out, like paying the rent, all that sort of stuff. Helps me focus on editing the content and making the videos better rather than spending more time working, because at the moment I am working my absolute ass off just to be able to cover all the bills, and it'd be nice if I could reduce that a little bit, spend a little bit more time editing to get the videos to a higher quality, because that's exactly what I want to do. But at the moment I've got to get them done as quick as I can, and they take me about probably between 6 and 8 hours of video to do the back end of it. So yeah, it's a lot of work on top of already doing the work every week. So yeah, I appreciate if anyone can do it, even $5 a month. It makes a huge difference. If I can get enough of you guys to even just doing that, it will change my life. So yeah, I appreciate anything you guys can give me, and yeah, don't think I take it lightly. I understand that we're in a hard economy and it's hard to make money. So yeah, I appreciate all you guys. Anyway, sit back and enjoy the video. You're probably curious about a little update of what the hell I'm doing to this car. So taking a few of the load carrying springs out of this pack, and I've put it back together, so it's still got the brackets and stuff that hold all the leaves straight, keep it all good. So it's still very safe, which is lowered at the 80mm we wanted to lower it. And then to take up the slack now, because the shocks are the shocks now that were in the car are way too long. You could put a shorter shock in, but what we're going to do is put a air shock in. So he's bought some air shocks from America and an air pump up kit from Australia from Air Ride. So we're going to put these air shocks in and then set them up so that he can then take up some slack, and if he wants to, he can pump the car up a little bit if he wants to carry some mates and stuff in the back. So that's what we're doing to this car. We're going to, instead of just slamming it and put some shocks in there, which there's still an option if we can't get these shocks to work, because it's quite narrow. The shock runs between the chassis and the leaf, and it's really narrow, the gap that we have between it. So we were going to run a coilover in there and lower it, like slam it, and then just use a coilover to adjust it back up and take the slack off. But wasn't going to work. We couldn't get anything to fit in there. So yeah, we're going for the air shocks. Trouble is that they're from America, so the fittings and stuff that I'm trying to get to work on what I'm usually using won't work. So yeah, I've got an adapter. I've got made up some adapters that'll work, and then we can put them in, and then yeah, we can start getting it all pumped up, make sure it's all going to work. So what I'll do is next stage now is to get the shocks mounted in the car. Unfortunately, the eyelet is too small because we measured the bolt size for the shock, but it actually gets a lot larger where it actually mounts on. So I'm hoping I can pull the bushes out of the old shocks, put them into the new air shocks, and then we can at least get those mounted. And then once they're mounted up, I'll run an air line onto the shocks and then between each other so that we can pump them up and just make sure it's going to work. And then once I know that that works, I can then mount the air compressor and the switch. Oh, he actually doesn't want me to mount the switch in the car. We're going to leave it in there loose because he wants to figure out where he wants to put that. But yeah, we're going to mount the air compressor in it's little portable like a little plastic, I'll show you. So it's a little airlift pump from Air Ride. And yeah, so that'll just mount in the engine bay, and then we'll just run an air line back to the bags. And then you've got one that goes through, it'll go through this. So you've just got pump up, which will just, when you press this button on the switches, it'll just pump, basically just turns that compressor on, fills that line up with air. And then if you want to put it down, you just press this button here. So it's a very, very simple kit. There's no tank, so unfortunately you're not going up and down quickly, but for a car like this, it's just like a tradie setup. You're not using it as lifting or lowering, it's just using it to take up the slack and make it a bit more of a comfortable ride. Yeah, so that's what we're doing to this. I think this is a Chevy Blazer, very equivalent, but it's a GMC. So I can't remember the exact name of what they're called. It's a High Sierra, it's not the model, that's like the package. I think it's yeah, I can't remember, but basically, to most people, it's a Chevy Blazer, I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. Not really good with my American cars. But it's sick. And it was just sitting up too high in the back. I got some footage of it before, did a bit of a walk around. But as you can see, it was sitting up real high in the back. So now we've just bring the back down so that it's level with the front, and it's got a really nice stance to it. And then, yeah, we just want to make it also ride not shit. Because the problem with static cars, the reason most people end up bagging their cars is because static cars low ride crap. This dude's seen my video of my mini truck, how I did the bags and stuff. Unfortunately, it's just going to cost too much to put bags in this for him. So this is the cheaper alternative, is using an air shock. It's not something I've done before myself, but yeah, it's another option. Once I've done this, it's another option I can ask, give people if they want to do it. Yeah, this wouldn't have been easy as my mini truck to do the bags in, just because of the way the chassis and the leafs are and stuff, because my leafs in my mini truck run underneath the chassis like most cars, whereas these actually run next to the chassis, which then puts the chassis in further, and then you've got exhaust and all sorts of stuff in the way. It's actually quite complicated to mount a bag in there without changing it completely. Yeah, anyway, let's get back into it. Going to take a bit of a break from this, as much as I'd like to keep going because I'm not too far off having this job done. Maybe in a couple of hours I'd have this done, but this is probably the least priority as far as the guy needing it back, because this is just a toy car for him. Yeah, so we've got a really low-K VZ Ute behind me. If you guys remember the gold VT that come in, that's one of his other cars. He's got quite a few really, really nice cars. Then we've got, so that's getting, the blue Ute, sorry, is getting, we're painting the calipers all around, putting a new arial in it, fixing a blown tail light, sail plane needs to be re-glued. It's getting a new badge on the tailgate. So yeah, we're doing that. But before I do that car, actually, I was going to do the VF Ute later. The VF Ute's getting its guards rolled, lowered in the rear, and then he's got some new wheels that we're going to put on it. So we're going to do that. But first up, the Lexus that's out there is getting the guards rolled all around. So I think we'll do that one first, get that out of the way. Then we'll do the VF, because the Lexus needs that back definitely today. So we'll do the Lexus, get that done. Then bring the VF in and get that done, and then we'll start on the Ute tonight and finish that up tomorrow, because I've got to paint the calipers on it, but I think I'll do the full other bit of the list on that, and then we'll do the calipers last. Yeah, anyway, another jam-packed day. I just went to bring that, what is it? I just went to bring that accordion to do it, which I'm about to do now. I walked out, and car after car after car of people coming in, having a chat with me, which is great. I love having a chat with everyone, but like I always say, it slows me down. I just literally lost an hour. So I'm going to go get that car now, and we'll get stuck into it. what a pain in the bum. So, just finished up on that ute, or nearly finished up on the ute. It's dead flat. It's been on the hoist for a couple of hours, I guess, while I've been rolling the guards, and gotta have it in neutral so I can obviously roll the guards, but it was cracking the shits about being in neutral, so the ignition was staying on, but I didn't think that'd be enough to drain it. Like, I've done plenty of cars, must have a bad battery maybe. I've got to push that out the front, and I'll push it across it into the sort of in front of the next factory, and I'll chuck it on the trickle charger so that I can start on the next car. But it's sitting a little bit higher in the left side, so I wanted to take it for a drive and just see whether the shock needs to settle or something, but I'm not going to be able to do that until it's got a charged battery. So yeah, I'll chuck that on charge next door, and we'll bring in this VZ Ute, which I was already meant to have started on. Yeah, we'll get stuck into that, because I'm hoping I can get... He wants to pick that up Monday, so along with a bunch of other stuff, I've got to paint the calipers. So really I would want to do all of the other work that needs to be done to it first, and then I'll pull the wheels off, and well, then I'll do the calipers, and then they can sit overnight, and then I can put it back together tomorrow. But I was meant to go to, well, I wanted to go, been invited by people to go to a meet tonight, car meet tonight. It should be pretty big because it's Geelong and Melbourne people, but unfortunately I need to get that ute to the point that the calipers are painted so that I can continue to do the works that I've got to do on it. And I really want to do the other works first, because it's just, you know, a few of the things I've got to do in and around the wheels. So if I paint the calipers and then I'm in there and I mark one, I'm going to be pissed. So I'd rather get everything else done that's on the list, then do the calipers, and then I can just put the car back together tomorrow, and then I can jump back onto this thing tomorrow as well and get this done, because that's meant to be done by the end of this weekend as well. And I don't even know, I haven't even finished doing all the switches and wiring, and I don't know if it's actually going to work yet or whatever. So yeah, I've still got a lot to do. The sun's on a really shit spot at the moment, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I'll give you a before and after of that ute. I don't know whether it's drastically different in height, to be honest. Seems like it's got shorter shocks that were in than the ones that were in there. They're definitely aftermarket springs, but I'm not. Oh, sometimes it is hard to film in the factory because the sun just comes down for about between 3 and 5 hours a day. The sun's in a real bad spot for this factory for filming. The rest of the day it's not too bad. Oh. Anyway, I think I'm going to miss out on the meet tonight. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have popped down, but I really just do not have the time. And everyone's been telling me, oh, it's the long weekend, you know, take some time for yourself, and that does make sense. But I just can't see a way to do it. And then the only way I could see to do it is if I go to the meet, finish up at the meet, which is the meet down in Geelong is about 8:30. So let's just say I go there for an hour, I'll end up getting stuck there for 2. It'll be 10:30. And then I'll have to come back and do that ute, which means that, you know, I'll be here till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't been sleeping well lately, so I don't really think that sounds very good. Yeah, I kind of want to finish work at a half decent time tonight and try and get some sleep. But anyway, let's get back into it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The good thing about it being past 7 is I can close my gate, turn on the music, and get in the zone. Because I just usually have the radio playing during the day because I've got customers coming in and out. So I find if I have my music playing and it's loud, I don't hear people walk in, and it's awkward, especially if I'm singing. So, yes, I'm going to turn on some music now. Not that it's going to make a difference to you guys because I can't play my music in these videos. Anyway, let's get back into it. All right, so we've painted the discs black, and then I cleaned up the calipers and painted them black. I'm using it more or less as a primer. Usually if it was my car, I would take the brakes off the car, pull them apart, clean everything perfectly, and then paint the two bits of the caliper separate, and then put it all back together, and then that way you'd have the nice black hoses with the black seals and the blue caliper and stuff. It would look really good. Well, actually on my Calais I just painted the whole thing black because I couldn't be bothered, but on like HSVs and stuff I've had, generally, and actually now I'm talking at my ass because half the time I just send them to the paint shop and get them painted. At daytime we're mucking around with sunlight, now tonight we're mucking around with bloody those lights. But anyway, yeah, back in the day, before, I used to just send everything to a paint shop to get painted. I mean, the reason I guess most of my HSVs I send off and get painted is because they got the HSV logo and stuff, blah 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 blah. But if I wanted to paint a normal caliper, like say if you guys wanted one done really well, I would pull them all apart and stuff, but it costs a lot of money to do that because you got to re-bleed all the brakes, obviously, and then all the labour to pull them apart, clean them up, paint them, blah blah blah. Whereas this, what, a couple hours really by the time you pull it off, paint them, put them back on. Not really a big job, but it'll still have a very, very similar effect. You know, it's not a show car. Yeah, you're taking the pads out obviously, so when you put the pads back in you'll still at least have that nice little black bit. But yeah, the reason that I paint them black is because then anything that I miss or can't get to with the blue paint will be black rather than it being silver. Personally, I think that will look a little bit better. So yeah, I'm using it as a bit of a primer, and then obviously for that as well. So yeah, I'm going to clean up because I've been working on this car, I've been working on this car, I've been working on the other car, I've been working on that car. I've been working on a lot of cars today, and I've got tools and shit everywhere. Like, look how messy my benches are. There's just shit, absolute chaos in here, and I can't think clearly when it's like that. So I'm going to go through and tidy up. We've even got stuff from the VL. Like, come on guys, clean up. This is why I try and clean up after every job, but the problem is when you've got multiple jobs going on everywhere, it's just easy to get messy. So yeah, what I was trying to get at, sorry, is I'm going to have a clean up of the shed now, get everything nice and tidy, even if I think I'm going to, well, the only thing I will keep out is to put these brakes back together. But other than that, the stuff for this car, whatever, I don't care. Everything's going to go back, get cleaned up, and then that gives me enough time to let these brakes dry a little bit. And then if there's any bits that didn't stick very well, I'll give them a light sand. And then I'm going to give everything another second coat of black tonight, and then that way the black's all done. So the black will be done on the discs, that's finished, and all I'll have to do is just sand the faces of the discs where it's I'll have to just sand the faces of the discs where it's touched, because there's no point masking that up. Just easier just to paint it and then just give it a sand off as good as you can, and then when you put them on the car it'll wear off anyway. Anyway, let's get to cleaning up. Alright, a couple of hours sleep and I'm back here ready to roll. Pulled a muscle in the back of my leg somehow, but we'll push through that. Oh, thank God. This car's charged up. I just disconnected the battery. I think it wasn't charging because I reckon the battery is probably not very good, but I think the alarm was trying to go off or something because it was staying on. For some reason with the... I can't remember what was happening last night, but for some reason the lights were staying on at the front even with them turned off or something. Can't remember, but I reckon it must have been something to do with the alarm. But anyway, so that's now pretty much finished. I'm just going to connect the battery up, take it up the road, just make sure that the suspension's not funny. As long as that's good, I'll bring it back in. We'll load up these wheels of his and the springs, put them in the back, and then I'll send him a message and tell him he's good to pick that up. And then as far as the VZ, these are all painted. These are good to go. They've just got to have that bit sanded, and then we've just got to paint the calipers blue, but they've been sitting overnight. So they'll be definitely right to chuck a coat on now. I'll get the Ute out of here. I've got to reply to some emails and stuff first, but I'll get the Ute started. Well, I'm going to do that right now. I'll get the Ute started and just sit it out the front running so that we know we're good. reply to some emails, and then I'll go up the road, do that, come back, and we'll start painting these calipers. And then after that, like I said, I'll get back onto, once we sort out these 2 utes, we'll jump back onto this thing, and yeah, hopefully we can dial this in today as well. Oh, I'm glad I had a big day yesterday because it's set me up for a good day today. But yeah, I ideally want to try and get all this stuff finished relatively quickly. Not rushing, obviously I don't rush, but yeah, get it done as soon as I can in good time. Because I've got a lot of editing to do, so you know, I'm hoping to jump in the office for the afternoon and tomorrow and just edit. That's my plan, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, let's get into it. So while I've quite literally been waiting for paint to dry on the calipers on this ute, I've also had this on a pressure test. So for the first 3 hours I had it on 100 kPa and it dropped down about 5%, about 4 psi roughly. But I think it was just, sometimes they'll do that, bags, I don't know why. Because then I put it back up to 100 kPa and the next 3 hours after that it hasn't gone down anything. So I feel like it maybe just, I don't know, everything sort of settles or whatever. So yeah, that's holding full pressure, no leaks. Everything's cool, but unfortunately I can't test it until I can get this VZ off the hoist. So yeah, I'm going to put that back together now. We'll sand up the discs just to get the bit of black paint off them as good as we can. You really just got to get the bulk of it off and then the brakes will do the rest. And then put that all back together and then that's pretty much done. So if we can get that back together, we can get that outside tested, do a brake test, make sure everything's good, even though it should be fine because the brakes were working before. We haven't done anything other than paint them. And then just check over the list of stuff for that car, then that one's good. Once that's out, then I can take this thing out, take the GMC out, take it for a drive, make sure these air shocks are working. They're not working in the sense that I thought they might be able to pump the car up and down a little bit like a bag, but it seems to be working, that it's taking up the load of the shocks. So yeah, I just want to make sure that it's going to be a comfy ride. I'm a little bit worried that they're not quite long enough. They definitely go short enough, but I'm not sure that they go long enough. So we might up out instead of bottoming out. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to close the door a little bit because it is like shiny as. It's the worst time of day, as I say, for filming. So yeah, I'm just going to put the banner down and hopefully that'll help me so I can get enough clips of this, putting this VZ back together. I was going to wait it out. I've just been in the office editing for the last few hours while I've been waiting for paint to dry and stuff, but I'm now waiting for something to render, so I need something else to do. So I'm going to come out and try and put this VZ back together. Anyway, let's get into it. You know what absolutely shits me? I never have problems putting brakes together, ever. As soon as you got a painted one though, it's like... Whoa. Things are just trying to test my patience. It's like everything knows that I've had bugger all sleep and I'm on the edge. I'm trying my best. But these bloody brakes are already pissing me off. So I think what's actually happening is the only thing that did give me grief getting off was the actual discs were rusted to the hubs, and I think there's that much bloody rust on there that I'm struggling to get the disc fitting back all the way onto the hub, which is then not making me not be able to put the brake on. So I think I'm going to have to whack the disc on a bit and then hopefully we should be right. I don't want to spray inox on it because I've just put paint on there and inox will take the paint off. So I'm trying to get away with that, but we'll just try and give it a bit of a love tap and see how we go. Alright, so we've taken this on a test drive, drive really well. There's a tiny little rattle from somewhere. I don't think I've driven this car before, so I've probably never heard it, but I'm just going to have a little bit of look over the car now and see whether I can't figure anything out. I thought I might have left there's like a little retaining clip that goes around the brake line, the ABS line on the strut. Most cars are missing them. This had them, so I definitely put them back. And I thought, oh, maybe I didn't clip it in properly, but so I put my hand through on the side of the road to check it and burnt my hand on the caliper. So anyway, that wasn't the greatest idea. I should just waited till I got back here. But yeah, apart from that, everything's good on this car. I've checked through the list. I've done everything he's asked me to do. So, and a little bit more. So yeah, that should be good. That should be happy. I'm just going to give it a final check, like I said. And then I am super keen, hopefully before it gets dark, to take this thing for a drive and see whether it drives. Everything checked out good on the Ute. Silly me forgot that there's a tow bar and brackets in the tub that I pulled off, which would have been rattling. But anyway, that's fine. Well, this big, sexy American thing drives like you're riding on a cloud. The only thing is, on those massive bumps, I actually have the best area for testing cars because I can literally go out, bang, I'm on the highway, and I can do up to 100 k's an hour very quickly, and it's a smooth road. Or I can go up the Hamilton Highway, which is the worst road ever known to existence, which is great for testing suspension. So I just went down there, and there's one big bump that every lowered car struggles on. The shocks did max out over that bump, but handled it fine. Other than that, it drives fantastic. It's a little bit floaty, but it's a huge old car. I think that's just kind of expected. You could probably pump the bags up a little bit more to 100 than 100 kPa. I'm not used to this style of airbag, so I'm actually just going to have a little bit of a reads in this booklet and see what it says, because the gauge does go up to 200, so maybe you could chuck 120 in there, 130, and that might help a little bit. But yeah, it's been a great success. I'm very happy. The plan from now is I need to get this back on the hoist just so I can give it another eye over. Don't really want to put it back on this hoist down there. I only had it down there because of the way that my weekend was planned out. So I'm just going to quickly chuck it on this hoist here. So then that way I can slide a jack out, jack the front up to get it onto the hoist, and we're golden. So yeah, we'll do that, give it a check over, put the center caps back on, and then tighten up the rear wheels. Then we're good to go. The gauge is not mounted inside, but the owner wants to do that, that's why I've left a long lead on it. That VZ Ute's done. The tailgate, I just noticed when I drove back in, the tailgate really needs a polish, so we might give it a bit of a polish. Apart from that, I'll text that guy, let him know him. Text the VZ owner, tell him his car's ready to go, so he can pick that up tomorrow. And then this bloody tough American truck, it's like a big bloody Summernats rig. Sadly, I guess it works, so it's got to go. So yeah, I'll message him and let him know his car's good too. But everything was a great success. If you need work like this done to your car, hit me up, because no one else probably, well, not that no one else would have figured out what to do on that thing, but I'm happy to take experiments on and figure things out, whereas a lot of mainstream shops won't do that. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all the things. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.